Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare
Course! Attention! Forward! March! Gallop! 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 Right! 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 Left! 1, 2, 3, all! Gallop! 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 Right! Left! Right! More time, march. Course, halt. Foot rate, rest. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, what you are now about to witness are some of the actions and commands given inside a C-17 or a C-130 high-performance aircraft just before your 82nd Airborne Division jumps into the darkness of the night. Check equipment. Sound off for equipment check. Okay, John Master. 1 minute. Get ready. Go. Here we go. Here we go. All the way. All the way. Gotta be rough and tough. Airborne. Every day. We run to the sun. No sweat. Not yet. Down in the Nothing to eat but a can of beans.
Nothing to eat but a can of beans.
The bread was molded and the meat was bad.
The bread was molded and the meat was bad.
And you know darn well that you can't eat that.
Hey, you know darn well that you can't eat that.
Here we go.
Here we go.
All the way.
All the way.
Gotta be rough and tough.
Rough and tough.
Hey, boom.
Hey, boom.
All the way.
All the way.
When I was younger, I always wanted to be in the 82nd Airborne, my knees in the breeze. But now that I'm here, we're gonna do it right. I'm gonna jump from an aircraft while in flight.
All the way airborne, airborne, all the way driving on, driving on. All the way airborne, airborne, all the way driving on, driving on.
Early one morning when it drizzling rained, when I picked up my parachute and boarded the plane, Jump Master said 1 minute to go, and the green light lit with the chilling glow.
All the way airborne, airborne, all the way driving on, driving on, driving on, driving on. All the way airborne, airborne, all the way driving on, driving on, driving on, driving on.
Here we go, all the way,
all the way.
Gotta be rough and tough,
rough and tough.
Airborne,
Airborne, airborne.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we have come to our final selection today. With that being said, we'd like to dedicate this song to our troops deployed overseas now and for many days to come. Made famous by Lee Greenwood, this is God Bless the USA. Thank you, and have an airborne day.
Tomorrow all the things were done I worked for my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, because the flag still stands for freedom and they can't take that away.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today.
No doubt I love this land.
Love this land, God bless the USA.
Of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA. There's pride in every American's heart. It's time we stand and say
that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today.
No doubt I love this land.
Love this land, God bless the USA.
Once again, we are your 82nd Airborne Division All-American Corps. Woo!
Here we go, all the way, gotta be rough and tough, Bo diddly, have you heard?
Bo diddly, have you heard?
We're gonna jump from a big iron bird.
We're gonna jump from a big iron bird.
Stand up, hook up, shuffle to the door.
Stand up, hook up, shuffle to the door.
And you leap right out and count to 4.
Leap right out and
my main don't open wide,
if my main don't open wide,
I got a reserve by my side.
I've got a reserve by my side. Hey,
Here we go,
here we go,
all the way,
all the way.
gotta be rough and tough.
Rough and tough.
Hey la de la de da de.
Hey, la-di-la-di-lo.
Hey la de la de da de.
Hey, la-di-la-di-lo.
Well, to see 130 rolling down the strip.
Hey, la-di-la-di-lo.
60 paratroopers on a one-way trip.
Hey, la-di-la-di-lo.
Well, to mission top secret destination unknown.
Hey, la-di-la-di-lo.
Don't even know if we're ever coming home.
Hey, la-di-la-di-lo.
Here we go.
Hey, la-di-la-di-la.
All the way.
Hey, la-di-la-di-lo.
Here we go.
Hey, la-di-la-di-la.
Every day.
Hey, la-di-la-di-lo.
Airport.
Airport.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. All right. In the early morning rain.
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 A part of the American story is the evolution of America's armed forces and the overlooked narrative of the black service member. Often, in the face of racial discrimination, many African Americans volunteered to serve under the most challenging circumstances, only to prevail heroically. One such American was Dan Bullock. Born in Goldsboro, North Carolina, he dreamed at an early age of becoming a pilot, a police officer, a Marine. On May 8, 1969, Private First Class Dan Bullock arrived in Vietnam. 1 month later, he was dead. As the youngest American killed during the Vietnam War, PFC Bullock has never been fully recognized for his service to his country. This is his story.
We grew up together. That was my best friend. Yeah. And everybody loved him. You know, he was wonderful. He was smart, intelligent, and very adventurous. We had long distance trucks that we would put match stems on. The big matches for the officers and the little ones for the regular soldiers. Right. And we would get in the backyard and we would play war.
After Dan's grandmother died, the family moved to Brooklyn, New York, where Dan's aspirations and dreams of joining the military grew. At the age of 14, Dan Bullock would make a decision that will alter the course of his life.
He just wanted to make a difference and change, and ever since he was little, he always wanted to go into the military. It's not clear who helped him alter his birth certificate, because my grandfather said he didn't, you know, but Dan was so very mature for his age, and we was all proud of him.
I met Dan Bullock in October 1968 in boot camp. And he didn't make it in the platoon he was in, so they put him in my platoon. And I really hadn't met him yet, but I saw him for the first time then. After he failed a couple of runs, we were beginning to get punished as a result of him not keeping up. And some of the Marines, white Southern Marines, wanted to give him a blanket party. I overheard them talking about giving him a blanket party, and I interceded on his behalf. I was from Brooklyn, and I knew then he was from Brooklyn, and I felt an obligation to try to help him out.
The other guys gave up, but I kept saying, "Where are you from?" He'd say, "New York." "You don't sound like you're from New York." and he would figure out all kinds of ways to tell me he was from New York. He never let on that he was 15. So that's the whole thing. There was something about him that made me want to protect him when the other men were just outright aggressive toward him. So he and I were friends, although we didn't speak much. We spent a lot of time writing home. He didn't share his letters with anyone. But I thought this was normal behavior. I hadn't yet been in combat. A few weeks after he was killed, a reporter came in. The big story was on the front page of the New York Times. 15-year-old is killed. Then we realized, yeah, it all just fell into place that Dan was 15. He had enlisted at 14. He had gone through boot camp at 14. To me, that makes it amazing that any human alive can make it through boot camp at 14 is really impressive. That he held a secret is also impressive, but it explained why I felt like he was a younger brother and others felt like he wasn't supposed to be there. He didn't belong there.
So I think the best way to honor Dan Bullock and the other Marines who were killed that night and, you know, on other days and nights and weeks in the Anwar Valley is to get at the truth and tell the full story the best we can, you know, to be able to say with certainty or with confidence at least you know, they were at such and such a place, and they were performing a certain mission, and it doesn't have to. We don't have to try to drape them in heroism. And what they were doing was inherently a difficult, demanding task, and of course, you know, deserves our utmost respect.
Dan Bullock's story is just a microcosm of the whole war, but it's probably the alpha of the stories, because the youngest, and you know, there's the youngest and the oldest, but it's not just the youngest, but it's the story behind Dan's motivations. Why would this kid do this? 14 years old. I think at 14 I had a paper route, and I was, you know, thinking about maybe, you know, trying to make a few bucks or something. Or, you know, I wasn't thinking about. I was, yeah, trying to do better for myself, but not joining the military. You know. So it was just what motivated them. I really would have liked to have been in the mindset of Dan. What was going on? There's something had to be going on that had to make this child soldier want to do better. I mean, he was a child, 14. Deep inside them, that there are motivation for kids. It's tragic that it happened to Dan, what happened to Dan, but then again, it's proven a point.
Dan was, and still is, one of the greatest patriots we ever had in this country, because here's a 15-year-old that died fighting for our democracy, and he could have easily threw his hands up and said, look, I'm only 14 in boot camp, or 15, and went home. But he didn't. He took his secret to the grave. And since he's a young African-American who died at 15, every African-American and everybody in this country ought to know who he is. And I think he ought to be recognized.